Well, welcome. Thank you for everybody being here. My name's Hannah O'Brien. I'm with the Veteran Spouse Network, and we're putting this on with the very concerted effort of our spouse leader, Nalita Lewis, who I'll introduce here in a second. This is the second of the resource expos that we're doing. We did one last Thursday that had some different presenters than we'll have today. We have recorded that, and we're going to be recording this session as well and putting them up on our YouTube. I'll actually share here in a second the link to our YouTube page where you can access the ones from last week, and we'll be loading these as well. So we are recording. It's only going to show the person who's speaking and their slides that they're sharing slides. So you don't have to worry about that. We're basically going to go through and have everybody present. And then if you guys have questions for the presenter, please put those in the chat if you're able. And then Ashley will be looking out for those, and she'll ask you guys, the presenters, those questions that weren't answered in your presentation. So to get started, this was Nalita's idea, and she thought that it would be a great idea to bring together organizations that serve our caregivers and our veteran spouses and military spouses and family members to present on their services, because she's a caregiver herself, and in her own journey, she's compiled a lot of these contacts and this information, and it was hard work. And so part of what she loves to do is share that information out to others like herself to make that journey a little bit easier. And we thought, with this virtual scape that we're in right now, this would be an amazing way to help get that information out. So I would love to introduce Nalita. She is a peer leader for us and a caregiver herself from El Paso. And she organized 99.9% of this expo all on her own. And we are so grateful to have her in our team of leaders helping us do amazing things like this. So Nalita, I'm going to turn it over to you. Ooh, Nalita, you there?
Can you hear me now? I think I just finished introducing myself. Y'all missed it.
We blinked and it was gone.
It was gone. No, what I was saying is thank you, Miss Hannah. And I couldn't have done it with everybody. It was very easy because I've participated with some of these programs, and I reached out to those executives and all those program managers, and they right away jumped in. So it made it easy. So thank you guys. And as Miss Hannah mentioned, I've been doing these chats since March. And one thing that I did from these chats, one thing that I noticed is that a lot of us, when we apply to an organization and we don't have a good experience, or we don't get picked or qualified, somebody asks about that organization and you might badmouth it, but not knowing maybe the eligibility requirement is different. So for me, it was very important to empower the caregiver community by putting a platform where these organizations can present and let them know what the program consists of, what the eligibility requirements are, and how to apply. So this way they have a contact and they can personally call and find out information and get facts. So first, I want to introduce our first presenter. She is with the Elizabeth Dole Foundation, and the Elizabeth Dole Foundation was established back in 2012 to strengthen and empower American military caregivers. Here to let us know a little bit more about that is Ms. Yasmin Alfonso.
Hi everybody. So I'm going to share my screen here. Just give me 1 second so I can get this presentation up. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Nalita, for that introduction. Nalita actually just participated in one of our webinars, so we're going a little back and forth here. So continuing up that collaboration, so that's great. So as she explained, I'm with the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. I'm the manager of City and Community Initiatives, which means I manage our Hidden Heroes Cities and Counties program. And that program, I'll get into a little more as I go through my presentation for everybody. but let's start at the beginning. So as Nalita mentioned, the Elizabeth Dole Foundation launched in 2012 after Senator Dole witnessed what caregivers were experiencing and those hardships firsthand when she was at Walter Reed Medical Center taking care of Senator Bob Dole. Today, the foundation is one of the prominent organizations that is empowering, supporting, and honoring our nation's military caregivers and really raising awareness for who those hidden heroes are. The mission is really, as I mentioned, just to strengthen and empower those military caregivers. So we do that through a numerous of different programs, which I'll highlight each one of those. But it's really driven to raise that public awareness, driving research, champion policy, and leading collaborations that make a difference in the lives of our caregivers. So I wanted to go through here and kind of explain the fruition of caregivers and how it impacts the children as well. So our nation has been at war since 2001. So we're currently experiencing the longest period of war in US history. And we are increasingly seeing the effects of this through an extended period of time. And that war translates to coming back to home. And that impacts the veterans, the caregivers, and their children. So one of the first things that the Elizabeth Dole Foundation had to do in order to find out exactly how many military and veteran caregivers are out there and what those needs are, we needed to have data, right? We needed to have research-based data that really told us more about these military and veteran caregivers. So the Senator commissioned the RAND report, and with the RAND report, we discovered that there's over 5.5 military and veteran caregivers serving our nation. We assume that this number is much more now, given that this research was done in 2014, and we're currently working on a new survey to see how much this has increased and how the needs have changed. But with that, many of the caregivers, as most of you are aware, become the sole breadwinners for families. They're managing a household, raising children, navigating the financial challenges, and majority are also providing 24/7 medical support for their veteran or service member in the home. So who are those caregivers? This kind of breaks down a little bit of who they are. The Elizabeth Dole Foundation is unique in the sense that we serve all eras. So a lot of the new programs and initiatives that are now coming from military and veteran caregivers were maybe not seen 10 plus years ago. So with that, we're trying to address that and make sure that every single military and veteran caregiver is supported and knows what resources are available to them. And military veteran caregivers provide about $14 billion in uncompensated care per year. So one of our programs that we focus on is policy and advocacy. And that really comes with Senator Dole and her connections in Washington and her participation in the Federal Advisory Committee and making sure that she is leading the voice when it comes to policy for anything that has to do with military and veteran caregivers, whether that has to do with how the VA program is running, whether that has to do with expanding programs for that support military and veteran caregivers. The Senator and the Foundation are a part of all those policy discussions and are really constantly advocating for military and veteran caregivers. As we listen to our community of caregivers, it's really important that we constantly are pushing the envelope and making sure that those voices are heard with our leaders in Congress. So this kind of outlines a little bit of how this happened at the start of it. So with the founding to where we are now. As I mentioned, Senator Dole delivered a testimony on the Hill and participated in meetings with over 250 congressional leaders and successfully championed for this meaningful legislation. Then this launched the Hidden Heroes campaign, which is the broaden reach beyond Washington, and I'll get into what that campaign is. And then given her connections and who her friends are, we were able to get some amazing ambassadors. So Tom Hanks is one of our ambassadors, as well as Savannah Guthrie, Ryan Felipe, and we have numerous of others, celebrities and philanthropists and advocates that are really working with us to understand what caregivers' needs are and raise national awareness for them. I spoke a little bit about the Federal Advisory Committee here that Senator Dole serves on. So that's really important in terms of pushing legislation and making sure that the military and veteran caregivers' voice is heard. And then here we're kind of focusing on the different areas of Hidden Heroes. So the foundation's first action was to create our Dole Caregiver Fellows program. I'm happy to say we have some Dole Caregiver Fellows and alumni that are actually, I know, that are already on this call. So the purpose of this program was really to empower and bring a voice to the military and veteran caregivers across the nation. So our Caregiver Fellows program is where caregivers can apply, and then they represent their state. So we help them with professional development training. They learn how to be community organizers. They storm the Hill in Washington, D.C., and they really work with the foundation on whatever it is they want to do in their caregiving role, how they want to impact their community, and how they want to continue to grow and mobilize. What I always find is amazing about every military veteran caregiver that I have met, they want to make sure that what they went through previously doesn't happen to the next generation of caregivers. So they're constantly working to meet more military and veteran caregivers, help them self-identify, and really grow the network to make them aware of the resources, the community groups, the caregiver groups that are available to them as they continue in their caregiving role. So that's a little more about the Dole Caregiver Fellows program. You can see a lot of them here, storming the Hill. So they come for a week in DC and meet with their congressmen, with their senators, with those representatives, and really talk about military and veteran caregiver issues. And they participate in this week-long training with us as we really help them and to just empower their voice and make them feel they're a military and veteran caregiver serving our community and our nation in a really unique way. And we want them to feel really empowered on who they are and what they can continue to do. So one of the things that came out of the RAND report was realizing that caregivers felt really isolated. They felt alone in what they were doing. So that created the Hidden Heroes Caregiver Community. The Hidden Heroes Caregiver Community is our online support group that offers a positive place for military and veteran caregivers of all eras. This is through Facebook. It is monitored with our staff, providing military and veteran caregivers a chance to share their stories, seek advice. We post local events on there, and it's just really a wonderful community of different caregivers coming together. And, you know, sometimes you need to vent, and sometimes you need others to hear you and say, hey, I've been there. This is what happened to me. And it just provides this open community and space for them to feel more connected with others and have that shared knowledge and interest and say, hey, that's how I got through this in the VA, and this is what happened to me. And it just provides that community of them together. So that is how you can join that through hiddenheroes.org and register there. And you can get some more information and join that community. The program that I run is the Hidden Heroes Cities and Counties program. So this program, in 2016, the Dole Foundation worked with the U.S. Conference of Mayors and passed a resolution that encouraged cities across the nation to pledge support to military and veteran caregivers. In 2019, we added counties to this as well, realizing that counties have veteran service officers, that more than 90% of counties have someone dedicated to veterans and military families. So to date, we have 154 cities, towns, counties, and 4 states that have passed resolutions in order to work with us on this program. So what I do is I work with the city and county. I pair them with a Dole Caregiver Fellow or local caregiver who's going to be helping out within the community, and really work with them and think of strategic ways that they can start integrating caregivers into the supports that they're already doing or creating new initiatives to support them. We also provide them with numerous amounts of resources, information, and how they can get in touch with the foundation, our partners, information like AARP, the Prepare to Care Guide, the Caregiver Journey Map. There's tons of resources out there, and we want to make sure that these cities and counties are equipped with those resources. So when a caregiver does come to them and is looking on the internet or seeking help, they're able to find these resources, find the foundation, and be able to find a community that is willing to help them. A little more about the Cities and Counties program. It is sponsored by Comcast NBC Universal, who does a tremendous amount of work for military and veteran families. And the purpose, again, of this program is to, one, identify military and veteran caregivers in their communities, determine the unique challenges they face, educate community leaders, organizations, businesses, and really connect military caregivers with local resources and supports. So one of the next programs I want to briefly tell you about is our Campaign for Inclusive Care. So our Campaign for Inclusive Care is, the vision of this is to foster and support a healthcare environment reflecting the core principles of inclusive care, where caregivers are fully integrated into the clinical care team. What does this mean? So often caregivers go to the VA with their veteran, but they're not provided information about the full care of the veteran, and then they're expected to then take care of them when they come home. So we're working with the VA in partnership with USAA as well to empower healthcare providers and professionals to engage veterans and caregivers as part of the veteran care team through this policy and practice of a culture change, so that they can be part of these conversations, so caregivers can leave and feel more supported and empowered to continue to take care of that veteran or service member. So this is a little bit more about why inclusive care. We believe that the best chance for a wounded warrior is to recover and thrive is by having a strong and well-supported caregiver. One of the most vulnerable points for a veteran and caregiver is the initial clinical visits with their veteran. So here along that journey, we have to fix that communication between the clinician and the caregiver and really make them feel a part of this process. So it comes from empowering the patients, empowering the caregivers, and then empowering the clinicians as well. So right now, this is a pilot program. We hope to, in 2021, to be breaking out throughout all the VAs, but right now it's set up within Vision 20, 17, and 10. So you can see here where we're focusing on this. And we're working on different training modules to help these medical professionals get trained up on what inclusive care means and how they can start working with caregivers and to start implementing that into the care that they are giving.
Yasmin, I just want to let you know we're kind of running out of time, so we have about a minute.
Okay, great. So let's skip this part. Okay, perfect. So that's pretty much, actually, I'm close to the end here anyway. So that's a little more information about the Campaign for Inclusive Care. You can go to our website at the Elizabeth Dole Foundation .org to find more information about all of our amazing programs. So that includes the Hidden Heroes Cities and Counties program, how to get involved there, our Dole Caregiver Fellowship program, the Campaign for Inclusive Care, our policy work. So there's a lot of amazing initiatives that we're doing, and we really work in collaboration with all organizations. We're all working towards the same goal in serving military and veteran caregivers. So we want to work with every single organization, including the ones that are participating today, to continue to expand their resources and information as well as we work together to provide the best supports that we can for military and veteran caregivers. So that was a quick of everything. Lots going on in the foundation, but again, here's my contact information if you wanted to take that down and where you can connect with the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. And thank you so much for Nalita and the team for having me here today to be able to share all these amazing resources.
Well, thank you for attending and presenting on that. It's very informative. And I posted your contact info and the website in the chat, so everybody has access to that. It's also on the document I posted in the chat. We just had one question on where a caregiver can sign up for these programs and check if there's a chapter. Is that on your website?
It is. So we can go, I'm going to put some information in the chat here in regards to that and where you can go.